Hola, bienvenidos al podcast de Si Clauses. Welcome, I'm Senora Stanias, and in this podcast we will be talking about Si clauses in Spanish. Please make sure you have your grammar packet with you, that you are taking notes and writing down examples, as well as any questions you may have as you go through this podcast. We will be talking about Si clauses and how they are used with the subjunctive mood, how we use them in the indicative mood, and then how you can use them in your written and spoken Spanish. So we're going to begin by talking about what is a Si clause. A Si clause really is an if clause in English. It describes a condition or event upon which another condition or event depends. So it is a dependent clause. It cannot stand alone. Sentences with Si clauses have that Si clause and then a main clause. Some examples. Si pudieras, ¿irías a otro país para estudiar? Si tuviera la oportunidad, iría con mucho gusto. Please note that a Si clause can be either the first or second clause in any sentence. If it is the first clause, then there needs to be a comma between the two clauses. And you'll see examples of this as we go through the podcast. We're going to start by looking at a current condition and or event. Si clauses can speculate or hypothesize about these situations. When they do this, they're expressing what would happen if an event or condition were to occur. We call these contrary to fact situations. And when we have this situation, the Si clause is in the past subjunctive and the main clause uses the conditional tense. A couple of examples. Si cambiaras de empleo, serías más feliz. Iría de viaje a Sudamérica si tuviera dinero. Now we're going to look at Si clauses in contrary to fact situations in the past. They can express what would have happened if an event or condition had occurred. When we have these types of situations, then the Si clause, the verb in the Si clause is in the past perfect subjunctive, and the verb in the main clause is in the conditional perfect. Other examples. Si hubiera sido estrella de cine, habría sido rico. No habrías tenido hambre si hubieras desayunado. Si clauses can also express conditions or events that are possible or likely to occur. When we use these types of situations, the Si clause is actually in the present indicative. And you have a choice then for the main clause. It can either use a verb in the present indicative, the near future, which is that ir a plus infinitive, the future, the simple future, or a command form of the verb. And I'll give you examples of all of these. Si puedes venir, llámame. Si puedo venir, te llamo. Si terminas la tarea, tendrás tiempo para mirar la tele. Si terminas la tarea, vas a tener tiempo para mirar la tele. So there you can see examples of all of those. Next, we're going to look at habitual or past conditions or events that are not contrary to fact. In other words, they happened often in the past. In this case, the Si clause and the main clause both use verbs in the imperfect tense. A couple of examples. Si Alicia me invitaba a una fiesta, yo siempre iba. Mis padres siempre iban a la playa si hacía buen tiempo. And now we will look at kind of a summary, and hopefully this gives you some ideas. You can see if it's possible or likely, the Si clause is in the present, and the main clause is also can be in the present indicative. Also, you can have it in that the Si clause in the present tense and the main in the near future. Again, that ir a with an infinitive. Or you can have the Si in the present indicative and the main clause in the future. And finally, the Si in the present and the main clause in a command form. Now, if you have a habitual situation in the past, you're going to have both the Si clause and the main clause in the imperfect tense. Then, if it's contrary to fact, but yet it's a present condition, like what would happen if an event or condition were to occur. The Si clause is in the past subjunctive or that imperfect subjunctive. Main clause is in the conditional tense. And finally, if it's a contrary to fact, but the past tense, that what would have happened if an event had occurred, your Si clause is in the past perfect or that pluscuamperfecto of subjunctive, and your main clause is in the conditional perfect. So that concludes this podcast. Make sure you complete the Google Forms that you will find at the bottom of this podcast. Gracias y hasta mañana.